All right, so the first question we have comes from Vinago, and he's asking about keeping a handgun in your car at all times as if you are transporting it. Now, as far as the law goes, what you're asking here is, and you don't specify, do I have a permit, do I not? So let's talk about it. One thing to keep in mind is transportation is when you are in the vehicle with that firearm. So if you are in the vehicle with the firearm, there's laws about transportation. Now, if you have a permit, the laws are a little bit different, but let's talk about if you don't. If you do not have a CCW and you are transporting your firearm in a vehicle, there's some rules to that. We have California Penal Code 25610 if you want to look it up, and that states the firearm must be first unloaded. It must be in a locked container. And so as far as this firearm goes, now keep in mind, if we put a lock on the gun, because I will tell you a lot of people come in, you know, I work here at a range, a lot of people will come in and they will have a cable lock through the gun when they take it out to, you know, to get out on the lane and to shoot. A lot of them don't have permits. And a lot of people make this mistake. Putting a lock on the gun prevents function. The law requires you to put it in a locked container, which prevents access. Putting a lock on the gun is not a locked container. So note that if you are transporting your guns, you need to have that gun in a locked container, which means that lock is on the box, the case, the bag, whatever it is, not on the gun. If you want to put a lock on the gun as a secondary measure, you're welcome to do that. But note that the lock on the gun does not keep you compliant in the law. So for transport, the gun must be in a locked container and it must be unloaded. Again, we're speaking to people that don't have a permit. Now, this guy is talking, or Vinago is speaking specifically about keeping them there all the time. I'm assuming you don't live in your vehicle, right? You get out of that vehicle, you go into the 7-Eleven to get a Slurpee. You go to the grocery store, you go into the restaurant to eat. Without a permit, you can't be taking that gun with you. And if you are leaving it in the vehicle unattended, that's no longer transportation. So what's important is that transportation is you are with the gun. When you are not with it, it is unattended, it is now storage. So if you are leaving a firearm in a vehicle and you are not with that firearm any longer, you are now using your vehicle to store your firearm. The law on storage is different, slightly different than it is for transportation. Penal Code, if you want to look it up, 25140 is all about storage. Storage, similar but different to transportation. It's all about preventing theft of guns. I would imagine you know that a lot of these guns on the streets, illegal guns by felons, people that shouldn't have them, a lot of them come from guns that were stolen from vehicles. So what that states is storage says that we must keep our firearms in a lock, not only in a locked container when we're storing them because we're not with it, but that locked container must be permanently affixed to the vehicle and it must be out of plain sight. So, and I actually want to kind of go back and revisit a point that I forgot about transportation. The law specifically says as far as locked containers, it does allow you to use your trunk if you have a proper trunk, meaning that basically you have no access from the travel cab inside. You'd have to get out and walk around. In that case, you can use your trunk as your transportation locked container. The Penal Code also says that your glove box cannot be your locked container. So keep in mind, and I imagine, I don't know specifically why the Penal Code doesn't say why no glove box, but common sense to me states that that's where we keep our documents when we get pulled over. So that makes sense to me. But our storage options are for transportation, locked bag, locked box, proper trunk, right? Storage, locked container, that's permanently affixed. And there's a couple different ways to achieve that. Some are more secure. Some are compliant but not so secure, but they're more affordable. You can get a locking console, you can install an aftermarket or have a custom one done, installed, bolted, welded, however it may be. You can also go and get, a lot of companies, like Hornady makes the Snap Safe, a lot of companies make these that have a cable lock that attaches, and you can detach that cable lock around where the seat anchors and connects to the frame of the vehicle. Not the most secure thing. Anybody with good, wire cutters can get that off, but it technically is compliant. It's permanently affixed. So I hope that helps.